Travis Wingate, so. Yep. Judge Tina Campbell has denied the objections that I filed. So let's go back and review for those of you who are catching up. 3 Mormons justices recused themselves. Jenkins eventually, after tampering with the case in the first place. And so, after my filing of motion for default judgment, number 25, Judge Tina Campbell, who was just barely assigned, has number 23 is Judge Kimball's recusal. And so I did not know yet and as a result, she put in an order: the court will not accept any more filings in this case while the following motions are pending. That was the clerk's or the defense counsel's motion to dismiss, which was to deny the presentation of evidence against them. This is what got Judge First fired from Gaddy versus COP, is because Judge First allowed Kay Birmingham to go forward and present the evidence against the church that she had. And so Judge First was fired by the court. In my case, no. It was stopped. And the second case is about how the court is compromised to the church. And so Judge Campbell gives the order, which is Rule 11 sanctioning, but she didn't follow the proper processes in Rule 11. And so she silenced me for 3 months, sitting on this decision, which she was supposed to dismiss. She's supposed to allow me to present the evidence against the church. I could be lying. And so the evidence would be able to be argued by the defense counsel as whether it was actual evidence or not. But nope, they won't even allow my evidence. And then I had filed a second amended complaint. You know, I was going to make it very simple. The church is using coronavirus as a weapon. They're not shutting down the church. The coronavirus is now going to affect our lives for the next 7 years. Even if we can get vaccines rolled out, it's still going to take 7 years to recover because of the mutant strains. This is why it was so important for us to keep things closed, not have the governments and the church assist with the spread and escalation of the virus. They did this to us. They did this purposely. It was a coordinated world attack. And it's going to take at least 7 years before we can recover as a world and return to normal. So, also the default judgment was held. And so, number 27, documents lodged, not filed. And in between, there was I had appealed to Chief Judge Roberts, or Shelby, sorry. Roberts is in the Supreme Court. Robert Shelby. And he had put that information from me on the docket as well. Then 29, document lodged, 4 pages received by the plaintiff, lodged, not filed. They're holding that document that I filed on the 3rd of November until 26 is settled. November 4th, document lodged, not filed. 4 pages received from me. They're not allowing anything to go forward. And then finally, so 27, 29, and 30 were refused to be released, as Judge Campbell then came out with order and memorandum granting the motion to be dismissed. I'm denied petitioning for a redress of grievances. I am denied presenting of evidence in my case. And her judgment dismissed with prejudice. So, February 1st, 33, I objected. And then it was ignored. On February 4th, I had filed the objection again, including the emails to the judge's chambers. That's been put on now. It's available in the PDF there. I see it. Attachment 1, the PDF logo. Emails sent to chambers. So they put it in there. It's on the public docket now. It's in the public domain for anybody to have access to it, to see what the church had been covering up. It's not evidence, but it is the emails that I sent notifying the judge of the further crimes committed by the defendant. I received a death threat during this time period. That was included. Do you see how corrupt the church is? Do you see how high up it goes? But for the Friday night news dump, Judge Tina Campbell, because in the 4th's objection, I also said I expect the clerks to file the other 3 lodged documents, that I wouldn't have to do another objection to what she's done. But here she goes. Order for the 5th, denying 33 and 34 objections. Clerk of the court is directed to lodge, not file, any further filings by the plaintiff in this case. She's silenced me now. That not even my objections will be heard. If a response is necessary, the court will notify the parties. Wow. And so they're not going to release the motion where I asked her to recuse herself. They're not going to let it go. Now, I've already done the videos for those. Let's see, November 3rd and 4th. Let's see if I can find them. We'll do a quick overview. Like I said, I did the videos. They're in the 2020 LDS lawsuit readings, I think is the title of the playlist. New 2020 lawsuit. Motion to recuse Judge Campbell. So here's that one. Alright. This was Chief Judge Robert J. Shelby, 28. Docket text order overrides Judge Tina Campbell's 26 order, and therefore the plaintiff submits the following motion. 28 U.S.C. Part 1, Chapter 21, Title 455A. Judge Campbell's docket text order denying 15 motion to recuse was unlawful, as Judge Jenkins, with his 20 order of recusal, was his decision to 15 motion to recuse. This is what Judge Campbell is covering up. 28 U.S.C. Part 1, Chapter 21, 445B1. After the plaintiff filed 25 motion for immediate default judgment with prejudice for the plaintiff after Judge Campbell's 24 docket text order denying 15 motion to recuse Judge Jenkins, Judge Campbell, 26, ordered the court not to accept any more filings in this case, such as this motion to recuse Judge Campbell. Such an order protected the defendant to grant them more time in delaying a decision. Oh, 3 months! Who knew? Notification to the clerks of the court. This will now be the 4th recusal in this case, as all other federal judges in this court, except for Chief Judge Robert J. Shelby, must recuse themselves in accordance with 28 U.S.C. Part 1, Chapter 21, for Title 45, or whatever it's called, Section 455. This case must now be assigned to Chief Judge Robert J. Shelby, as the act of random selection of the remaining justices will merely demonstrate further bias and prejudice for the defendant and against the plaintiff. That was denied now. Denied going on the public record. That was the 3rd of November. The Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020. Document lodged. Let's see if I can find the one on the 4th. Motion to leave to amend, motion default judgment. It could be, 4th submission of brief for November 2020. That corresponds with the 4th. So this brief was denied. The plaintiff herein submits the following brief. Chief Judge Robert J. Shelby, the plaintiff understands your order for the plaintiff to stop emailing your chambers. However, the plaintiff must report the court clerk's violation of the law and overriding your order in the proceedings. So here, the clerks are now involved in the cover-up. Exposed. They're denying this from being on the public record. The plaintiff submitted 29 motion to recuse Judge Campbell, 3 November 22, which the clerks lodged only the motion, not the email, and claimed 26 ordered to ignore your Honor's overriding 28 order to have all submissions filed. As the plaintiff understands it, motion for recusal takes priority over previous undecided motions. Judge Campbell can't refuse to hear a motion for the recusal as her upcoming decisions for the previous motions are in question. Not letting this information on the public record. Judge Campbell is now expected to wrongfully decide in favor of the defendant on the previous motions, then deny the motion to recuse as moot, denying all substantive information from the plaintiff. Ta-da! I'm a prophet! This court is involved in gaslighting to protect the defendant. The plaintiff has evidence to convict the defendant. But this court's compromised judges and clerks are denying and dismissing all motions and complaints before evidence can be presented. As a consequence, the fact that the defendant had the state of Utah indefinitely detain the plaintiff back in 2008 is now fake news and a hoax. That was the first lawsuit. Shut down the defendant's religious organization. The defendant is blatantly causing infection and deaths with their position of religious trust. What this court is attempting to do is deny that there is even a coronavirus pandemic threat, and that Governor Herbert and Governor-elect Cox caused the indefinite escalation of the virus in the state of Utah for their failure to follow recommendations of health professionals. Denied making the public record. The plaintiff is also in great need of submitting a brief about co-conspirators who are further attacking the plaintiff in regards to his residence. The death threat. The plaintiff has clearly won, as the actions by this court demonstrate prima facie, which is why this court are committing crimes to protect the defendant and keep the plaintiff's evidence from being presented, such as the inverted pentagram carved in stone and in bronze at Temple Square, the headquarters of the defendant. Such illegal actions by this court, as the plaintiff understands it, is to render a default judgment in favor of the plaintiff. But this requires Your Honor to step in to make this order official. The plaintiff has already submitted to Your Honor such motion and order and merely requires Your Honor's signature to stop all this deadly criminal nonsense and blatant disregard for reality. Denied being on the public record. So there you have it. They don't want evidence against the church in any lawsuit. The church is untouchable. I won. And they can't accept it. I'm right. The church is corrupt. And if it's not going to fall by me, it will fall in the same manner as YouTube got tampered with last night. Anybody familiar with that? It wasn't me. But this is the story from the book of Esther that the Jews now celebrate as Purim. You have the villain who attacks. The victims are saved as the villain is punished by their own making. So YouTube has been criminally attacking me, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. But as a result of their corruption in YouTube, they piss off other people. They become a target by other people who have the ability to do damage to YouTube. And so last night, another such instance occurred. That's how God's vengeance is administered. It's by the wicked against the wicked. Joseph Smith understood this as his parable, starting in verse 43 of section 101. He says that the church leaders are going to get wicked, slothful, lazy, neglectful of Mormons, of the saints. And as a result, the enemy will come in and destroy Mormonism. Wicked destroying the wicked. We've seen that as the church has abandoned Mormons. And with the advent of the internet, Mormons are able to see for themselves now that the church has been lying, deceiving, and covering up. And there has been a huge exodus from the church. We'll see if I do a something like Mormonism's Sacred Secrets. Do little quick videos, segments. I don't know. We've got too many of my subscribers who are dead from coronavirus. Anybody who comes out now and calls this a hoax is an enemy of the people. They're part of the insurrection. So, alrighty, let the weekend begin.